pages from my series, The Shadow Syndicate. The Shadow Syndicate is a covert global spy organization dedicated to battling domestic and foreign threats, even the paranormal and supernatural. The Shadow Syndicate in Anubis City is led by Matthew Wooten, and he and his team fight this crime their way. One night in Lakewood, Colorado, employees of Pinnacle Dynamics, a military technology manufacturing company, was winding down for the night. The CEO, Jonathan Masters, was going over the blueprints for a top-secret military vehicle. Dr. Emily Reeves, the CTO of Pinnacle Dynamics, stands next to Masters and provides him with help as he puts the final touches to the vehicle. Isabella Monroe, the head of international operations, walks into Jonathan's office. Isabella Monroe: "Hey John, Emily, just wanted to let you know that I'm heading out. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning." Emily Reeves: "Okay. Have a good night." Jonathan Masters: "Hey, did you manage to set up a meeting with the Ghana military?" Isabel Monroe: "Yeah, they agreed to see us on Thursday at 2:30. Jonathan Masters: "Perfect. We'll be done with the testing phase by then. Thanks, Isabella. I'll have Marcus drive you home." Isabel Monroe: "No, that won't be necessary. My home is just around the corner." Jonathan Masters: "It's our policy and for your safety, and it's not like Marcus will bite." Isabel Monroe: "All right, I can respect that. I'll see you all tomorrow." Isabella walked towards the exit. Marcus was sitting in the lounge area waiting for Isabella. Marcus was scrolling through his phone when he saw Isabella. Marcus hailed. "Ready to go?" Isabella: "Yes. After a long day of calling and speaking to Western African governments in different languages, I am ready to spend some time alone in bed." Marcus hailed with a smirk. "Want any company?" Isabella rolled her eyes. "Not tonight. Maybe consider wearing some cologne and a white tux, and I'll consider the nightcap." Isabella got into Marcus's car, and Marcus started driving to Isabella's neighborhood. From a distance, a dark blue van emerged from the shadows and started following Isabella and Marcus. The car arrived at the entrance of the gated community. The security officer asked, "Hey Isabella, did you have a long night at the office?" Isabella replied, "A long day." She signed her name in the logbook, and the security officer opened the gate, letting Isabella and Marcus into the neighborhood. The van stopped at an intersection from a mile away. Isabella unlocked her front door and turned the lights on upon entering. Isabella: "Thanks again, Marcus. I'll see you again tomorrow. Drive safe." Marcus: "I will. Sleep well." Marcus left the house with Isabella closing the front door. Marcus got into his car and drove to the community's exit and then continued on his route home. The dark blue van pulled up to the security box. In Isabella's house, she turned her tea kettle on and started fixing a snack. In the front window, the dark blue van passed by Isabella's house with her back turned. Isabella finished spreading the peanut butter on the bread and was about to apply the raisins when a sudden thought came to mind. "Oh, I forgot my mail." Isabella set the kitchen knife down, grabbed her mace, and quickly ran outside to her mailbox. She grabbed the letters from her mailbox and was walking back to her house. Suddenly, a black gloved hand gagged Isabella from behind, causing her to drop her mail and mace. The echo drugged a muffled screaming Isabella into the dark blue van and drove off in a hurry. Back at a local bar in Anubis City, bartender Owen Sinclair was in the pantry organizing and checking inventory with his girlfriend Sophie Green sitting on the table. "Owen, I did not." Sophie replied, "Yes, you did." Owen replied, "I just gave the customer a normal look, that's all." Sophie replied, That normal look is the smoldering look that you gave me on our first date. I still haven't forgotten that face you made. Owen, okay, fine. I gave her a look, but it doesn't mean I like her. I'm not the only handsome guy who works at this bar. If I had a dime for everything, for every time a customer had made advances at me, I would have more than enough money to afford us a new house. Sophie started laughing. Owen later joined in with the laughter. He and Sophie leaned in forward for a kiss. Owen, darling, I promise that no matter how many customers makes advances towards me, I won't give in. You're everything I want in a woman. Sophie gave Owen a flirtatious smirk. Sophie asked, "And what do you want in a woman?" Owen gave Sophie a charming and flirtatious smirk. To start off, she has long, beautiful brown hair, eyes that resemble rubies, a voice so harmonious a man can't stop thinking about, skin like a smooth fur coat. When one touches it, they feel absolute comfort. She is tough, courageous, but kind. And she's a member of the Shadow Syndicate, a team of superheroes. Sophie replied, "Well, you got everything you want from a girl except for one thing. The Shadow Syndicate isn't a team of superheroes. It's a team of spies." Back at Wooten Enterprises, a data entry firm and the headquarters of the Shadow Syndicate, was their boss, Matthew Wooten, who was working in his office on some business reports. His office assistant, Casey, came into Matthew's office dressed in a tailored suit. "Matthew, Mr. Henry Ashford is here for your Shadow Syndicate member position." Matthew replied, "Great, send him in." Henry Ashford, a ruggedly handsome man in his late 50s, wearing a leather jacket, pants, and boots, walked into the office. Matthew rose up from his chair to greet Henry. "Mr. Ashford, I'm Matthew Wooten, head of the Shadow Syndicate and the owner of Wooten Enterprises. It's a pleasure to meet you." Henry replied, "Please call me Henry. The only person who calls me Mr. Ashford is the IRS agent and my ex-wife." "I see. So, Henry, I appreciate you coming here at this time. I would like to go over your resume if you don't mind." Henry replied, "Of course, that's perfectly fine. Before becoming part of the Atlanta Police Department, you were in the U.S. Army for 25 years, rising through the ranks to become a master sergeant. Impressive. Your specialties in tactical operations, reconnaissance, and leadership in high-stake environments. Awarded with the Bronze Star and the Purple Heart. Says here you led elite units in both conventional and unconventional warfare. According to this little note made by your former commander-in-chief, Henry Ashford's deep understanding of battlefield tactics and his ability to inspire and lead his team made him an invaluable member of the team." Henry smiled and nodded as Matthew read through his file. "After an honorable discharge, you joined the Atlanta Police Department, where you served as a detective for the Special Investigations Unit, a unit that focuses on organized crime and violent offenses. It says right here that all your peers and even your former partner looks up to you. A local bartender at an Atlanta bar even named a drink after you. Sounds fancy." Henry chuckled. "Yeah, it definitely has a taste to it. I can make one for you if you like someday." Matthew replied, I appreciate it, but I'm not a huge drinker. But our infiltration expert, Jordan, is a whiskey lover. I'm pretty sure he would absolutely love to try your drink." Henry replied, "Sure thing." Matthew continued with his reading. "Along with your expertise in hand-to-hand combat, tracking prowess, and expertise in demolitions, I think you'll be a great asset to the syndicate. But I just like to ask a question that I ask everyone who wants to join the Shadow Syndicate." Henry replied, "Of course, ask away." "What made you want to leave your job in Atlanta and come to Anubis City for this job?" Henry breathed slowly. I feel that I can do more better in Anubis City than in Georgia. Matthew raised his eyebrow curiously, and Henry took a deep breath. 5 years ago, I was at home with my daughter, Emily. It was a quiet evening. It was my night off, and I decided to spend the evening enjoying a good book while Emily worked on her homework in the kitchen. Then all of a sudden, a group of armed intruders broke into my house. I told Emily to hide while I fought off the attackers. I reached for my gun and I shot down 2 of the attackers. All my years as a master sergeant and police officer, I was prepared for whatever was going to happen that night, but not this. While Emily tried to climb upstairs to her room, a stray bullet hit her in the chest. I activated the security system from my phone that forced the shooters to run out. I went over to Emily, and I tried so hard to stop the bleeding, but there was so much blood. She passed away in my arms. Matthew, I'm so sorry about your daughter, Henry. How old was she? Henry replied, 16. After Emily's death, I sold the house and moved into an apartment 20 miles away. I lost my wife, Sarah, to breast cancer when Emily was 9. After losing both my wife and daughter, I couldn't walk back into the house that we shared together, let alone walk past my daughter's room or sleep in the same bed Sarah and I shared. Matthew asked, and the guy who shot your daughter, what happened to him? Derek Malone. I had arrested him for armed robbery, and my testimony put him on probation. He wanted revenge against me, but ended up killing Emily instead. The filthy coward left his gun behind. It was used in the armed robbery and was logged into the database, so I was able to match it and have Derek arrested. He's now serving a life sentence for Emily's murder. Although Emily's death was avenged, I couldn't continue my life in Atlanta. I quit my job and moved out of my apartment. I only visited Anuba City one time for work, so I figured that it would be the perfect place to start over. But to answer your question, the reason why I left Atlanta to join the Syndicate is I want to prevent parents from losing their children and children from losing their parents. Matthew solemnly nodded. Again, Henry, I'm very sorry for your loss. You should know that the Shadow Syndicate, we're not just a team, but a family, so if you ever need to talk, we're here for you. Henry replied, thanks, Matthew, I appreciate it. Matthew, of course, I'm happy to say that you're an official member of the Shadow Syndicate. You're hired. Henry was astounded. Henry asked, really? That's all? No entrance exam or interview report? I don't think you know, but I brought along some flashcards to help you prepare. Matthew smiled and chuckled at Henry. I'm delighted by his charming jokes. Suddenly, Matthew's phone rang. He picked it up and answered it before excusing himself. This is Matthew Wooten. Governor Sayers, what can I do for you? How long has she been missing? Okay, well, the Shadow Syndicate will leave now and be there first thing in the morning. I would appreciate it if everything about the missing woman is sent to my computer expert Orla Nightshade. See you soon. Matthew hung up the phone and Henry asked, Governor Sayers, as in the governor of Colorado? Matthew replied, yes. A business executive, Isabel Monroe, was abducted from her driveway and is missing for 3 hours. She works for a military technology company as its head of international operations. So the governor believes that that top secret information is at risk of being leaked. Henry asked, are we catching a plane? Matthew replied, no. We're taking the Horizon Centennial. It's our airship. Henry replied, airship? I guess you save a lot on airfare. Matthew replied, yeah. Did you bring a go bag? Henry replied, yes, sir. Like I said, I'm always prepared. Matthew replied, good to hear. Come with me. I need to call in the rest of the team. Henry was the first one to walk out of the door. Matthew followed Henry with his duffel bag wrapped around his waist and his phone in his hand. He added Henry's number to the text group chat and sent a text to the other members. The text read, we got a case. The team included Sophie Green. It also included Zara Voss, It also included, let's see, Elliot Parker, Jordan Quinn, Jasper Lane, Toby Reed, and Maya Thompson. They all got aboard the Horizon Centennial and they discussed their case. Okay, so sorry about this. Okay. We've got a case in Denver, Colorado. 6 hours ago, Pinnacle Dynamics executive Isabella Monroe was abducted from the driveway of her house in the middle of the night. Security camera in the neighborhood shows that we're dealing with a teen. Toby asked, security camera, I assume Isabella lives in a gated community? Matthew replied, yes. Residents have their unique 4-digit code to get through the gate. Visitors have to schedule their visitors with the security officer at the gate early in advance. And local businesses and vendors have to have all company vehicles registered to drive into the neighborhood. Sophie asked, was there a security breach or an intruder alert? Matthew replied, no, but security records show a dark black van was registered and scheduled to drive into the neighborhood on the night Isabel was abducted. I'm currently waiting to hear back from the security office to see what business it was. Pinnacle Dynamics, Jasper asked, is that a military company? Matthew replied, yeah, they specialize in design, manufacturing, and mass production of vehicle software, computers, and defense weapons for highly classified missions. Isabella works as the head of international operations. Her job involves contacting state and foreign governments to discuss the details of that specific mission. Maya asked, when she was abducted, was anything in her house stolen? Matthew replied, nothing according to the initial police report, but when we get there, Orla replied, yes, sir. When we get to Denver, I want you to do a forensic recovery of Isabella's work and home computer, as well as get a logbook of her office phone calls and go through her smartphone and tablet as well. If anything is missing or looks suspicious, send it to us. Orla replied, got it. It's a long flight to Denver, so everyone gets some sleep in the bunks. Everyone set their tablets and files aside and then walk and head to the sleeping quarters. That's it for now.